Hello team, this is Juan, and this is my recording on coding. I'm going to jump back to our first record in our database and talk a little bit about tagging and coding. You'll notice on the right side of the screen we have what we call layouts and relativity. Layouts are web-based coding forms restoring the bibliographical data and metadata about a record. As well as tagging and coding structures used by the review team, they are highly customizable and completely secure both from user to user and group to group. Right now I'm logged in as a power user. So you'll see I have a whole host of coding forms available to me. This form that's actually called coding looks like it's concerned with lots of issue tags here. One called first pass review looks to be very limited amount of bibliographical data. If I were a first pass reviewer, I'll probably be locked down to this coding form and I wouldn't see all of these others on this list. I would only see the forms that included decisions I needed to make. There's one here for assigning documents, another for authoring our privilege log, and a form called all fields that appears to only be read-only metadata about this record. Let's go back to coding. Here we can place rules on these layouts to ensure the quality consistency of the review. For instance, I can make a field read-only like the control number of the custodian field, and even though I am in edit mode in this form, I cannot edit those fields. An orange box means that a field is required throughout relativity. So for this particular coding form, it looks like the responsiveness is a required decision. If I were to uncheck any values and try to save it, it will not allow me to do so, and I would have to make a decision before moving on to the next document. Also set up our propagation rules. Let's say I tagged a record as privileged and I wanted that designation to automatically propagate to any member of this record, family, or any duplicate in the system. The copy of the previous rules allows the user to copy the coding decisions from one document to the next before saving. This is particularly useful when batches of documents are assigned out to reviewers based on conceptual similarity, where quite often the documents will be coded the same. We can also set up advanced logic on these to enforce best practices and workflow rules. Maybe in this particular review there is a rule that says at this stage a record cannot be tagged as both privileged and responsive at the same time. So if I were to try to save it with this designation, it wouldn't allow the save, stating that the document cannot be marked as responsive and privileged. Or if I were to go to a different place in my review, or if someone were to tag this document as privileged, they would have to pick a deeper determination with one of these subtypes. So at this point, maybe we would give them a warning that a subtype must be selected or a save will not be allowed. We can even set up rules where if someone comes in and tags the document super hot, we want to force them to leave a comment explaining that designation. Or if they tag a record as en fuego, in addition to that comment, we're going to shoot off an email to the lead party in the case saying something like, this document has been tagged as en fuego, here's the hyperlink we want you to take a look at. Some review platforms let you tag a record as reviewed, but we can set up some smart criteria to manage that process. So maybe if responsiveness, confidentiality, and privilege have all been addressed, we're going to automatically have the document flagged as reviewed and shot off to a second tier reviewer. So what we're really trying to do is give you the tools to sit down and the case team come up with the best practice workflow to review, then solidify and automate those features. Then everyone has the decisions, documents, information they need in a very fluent and automatic way without tons of extraneous noise in a way that doesn't concern them. Is there any question on the layout of relativity?